Welcome to the Third Gen Workshop, everybody. If you like our videos, please take a minute and hit that subscribe button. Today's video in our 82 to 92 Chevy Camaro series, we are upgrading the front steering components. We are installing new inner and outer tie rods, new tie rod sleeves, a new center link, and a new idler arm. Like any component with a bearing, these items wear out over time. The mode components we are installing are superior in their quality compared to the original factory equipment we are taking off. Let's get to it. We are going to install a new idler arm, inner and outer tie rods, with new tie rod sleeves and a center link bar. If you're replacing the inner outer tie rod ends, the sleeves, the center link, and the idler arm, one trick to assembling the new components before you take it to get it a front end alignment is to take the assembly apart in whole. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cotter pin and the nut off the outer tie rod ends from the knuckle. We're going to take the bolt off the pitman arm because we're going to reuse the pitman arm. We'll take the bolt off the idler arm and then the bolt and the cotter pin off the other outer tie rod. Then we'll drop this entire thing out together. This is important because we want to measure the new components so they go on at the same length. So we'll measure the outer tie rod into the sleeve. We'll do it two ways, both with a tape measure and by counting the threads, so that way our distance is close. And then we'll reassemble the unit in total. That'll allow us to maintain a close to what the current distance is and all these things, so that way when we take it in for the alignment, they're not going to tow it in or out too dramatically. Now, when we replace the control arms in another video, the control arms will actually affect the camber more than the steering because it changes a little bit where everything lines up. We're also going to put lowering springs in, new struts, new camber casters up top. Okay, now that the old steering linkage is all disassembled, we're going to unbox the new components and get them to measure out to the same lengths. Then we'll install that up. We also have to remove the idler arm yet. case you ever do this and you forget which one is which, inner tie rods, the Zerk fittings on the side, outer tie rods, the Zerk fittings on the top. Or I guess technically that's the bottom. Eighteen and a half. Going to be a little wide with manually adjusting it, but that is what putting it up on the alignment lift will do. And we use a big wrench to change these. Idler arm has 2 bolts inside the frame, and they're 18 millimeters. I need to put a wrench on them to get them loose. The key when you're putting this back together is to use the wear marks as your guide. So we're going to shoot for pretty much right there. We're just gonna get it snug because I want to get the links, the linkage and everything back on first, and then we'll tighten it down. 50 foot-pounds is the torque setting for the idler arm to the frame, according to the spec. Now we're going to put the linkage and everything up in place. We're going to put the Zerk fittings on here, and then we'll tighten these down to specs, put the cotter pins in, and then these. Had to remove the frame support in order to tighten this thing down. One of my new tie rod sleeves is bad. It's got a bad thread in it, so we are having to replace this. Instead of going with Moog for replacement, going with just a standard AC Delco. You want to make sure from the outside most thread to where it's in the sleeve on both sides are even, so that way as you adjust this, it adjusts it on the tie rod in the same. So we are at 1 inch and 1/16 and 1 inch and 1/8. So now they're the same. Now when we adjust this, it will pull it in or take it out at the same rate. All right, once your castle nut's on, tighten it until it's fully tight, and turn this until you can get your pin through, and then move your cotter pin up. It's out of the way. Now we need to grease the suspension. So ball joints, tie rod ends, pitman arm, idler arm, and we're going to lock these sleeves down as well. clean up my extra grease. We want to protect all of our Zerk fittings, the caps. That's how you finish your front steering. Now, the toe, you always should check your wheels to make sure that they are as straight as possible once you have this put together. This one's fairly straight. This one looks like it may be toed out just a bit, which it's really close to the one that we took off. I wouldn't drive this really far like this because you'll tear up your tires because it needs to get alignment pretty quick. Matter of fact, I would trailer it to the alignment shop. Thanks for watching the 3rd Gen Workshop. If you like these videos, please hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next video on our Chevy Camaro series as we are continuing to upgrade the 1986 IROC Z.